Not the silence of peace, but of absence. No birds, no wind, no gods. The snow is everywhere. It has swallowed roads, fields, rivers, prayers, men, and it wants you next. You don't open your eyes because you want to. You open them because your body senses danger, and the frost has crept too close. You're lying under a torn wool coat, not yours. The man who owned it died last night. Etienne, that was his name. He was 19. He liked to hum. Now he's stiff beside you. His lips blue, his eyes frozen open. You've stopped closing their eyes. It doesn't help. You don't cry. You just peel the coat from his chest and whisper something that might be a thank you. Not for the coat, for dying first. You stand, but the world doesn't. There is no morning in this place, only degrees of cold. You stand up, but nothing moves with you. Not a sun, not the wind, not the horses. 1,000 men around you, some dead, some pretending not to be. Boots crunch in snow, leather cracks like old bone. Someone moans softly, someone else vomits into the snow and wipes their mouth with a bare hand now red and raw. You still have your gloves, a miracle. They're thin, patched with cloth from a flag you once saluted. Now, just rags. Your breath fogs. You taste iron in the air. Somewhere, a French horn is calling. A shrill note meant to wake you, but it only makes your teeth hurt. You pick up your pack. It's lighter than yesterday, not because you're stronger, but because you've eaten nearly everything. Even the button soup is gone, even the rat meat. Even hope. The march you are in the Grande Armée. What's left of it? Napoleon led over 400,000 men across the Russian border. They say fewer than 30,000 will return. You hope to be one of them. But hope is a soft thing in this place. Hope dies quicker than frostbite. You walk because that's all you can do. One step, then another. It doesn't matter where. You follow the back of the man in front of you. His name is Jacques, or maybe Henri. You haven't spoken in 3 days. The column moves like a wounded animal, dragging itself through snowdrifts taller than a man's waist. Horses die mid-step. Carts break their wheels. Men whisper prayers in Latin and die before the amen. You keep walking. Your knees ache. Your lips crack. Your boots, the ones you made yourself, are bleeding at the seams. You're a cobbler, or you were. Now you're just meat, marching meat. The voices in your head. You think of home, Lion, the bakery near your father's shop, the sound of church bells in summer. You remember the feel of leather between your fingers, soft, warm, pliable. Here, everything is stiff. Everything breaks, even your thoughts. Why did I come? Because the letters said you must. Because Napoleon promised glory. Because France said it needed you. Do they remember me? Your mother, maybe. Your younger brother. He cried when you left. You told him you'd return with medals. Now you'd be happy to return with your toes. Will I die here? You don't answer that one, because you already know what you were promised. When you were conscripted, the officer spoke of marches under golden banners. He said you would sing the Marseillaise as you liberated cities. He said Russia would collapse like a paper house. What you got was snow. What you got was hunger. What you got was wolves. Not the poetic kind, the real ones. They follow the army now, circling at night, dragging off men too weak to fight back. You've seen it. You've heard it. Howls in the dark, the crunch of teeth on thigh bone. You pray it's not you next. But if it is, at least it'll be quick. Hunger, it started with bread, then salted meat, then hardtack so old it broke a man's tooth, then horses, then rats, then belts, then the man no one liked. You never found his body, just his boots, cleaned and worn by another. You don't ask questions anymore. You eat what you can. Today someone found dried beans in an abandoned Russian hut. The officer took them, said it was for the wounded. You don't know if there are any wounded anymore. Just the living and the dead, and those in between. Men still walking, but already gone behind the eyes. Rituals of the march. Every night you bury someone, or you don't. Sometimes the ground is too hard, so you cover them with snow. Whisper a name, move on. There is no priest anymore. There is no choir, no candles, no absolution. Only breath, only boots, only men too tired to remember the words to the prayers. Legacy, you stumble, and someone helps you up. You don't look at them, no one does. But the act, the gesture, it burns in your chest like warmth. You want to speak, you want to say thank you, but your throat is frozen, so you just nod and keep moving. This day will echo through time, you think, even if your name is never spoken, even if your bones are never found, even if France forgets you. Somewhere a story will remain. You are here, November 1812, 10 miles from Smolensk, minus 25 degrees Celsius. 18,000 remaining French soldiers. 3 boots lost this morning. 12 men died last night. You are alive. For now, final thoughts. Before the day begins, you tighten your scarf. You adjust the musket. You haven't fired in weeks. No powder, no bullets. Only the weight, a symbol of a soldier who once was. The man in front of you begins to walk. So you do too. You pass another frozen corpse. His eyes look like yours. You step around him. You don't say anything. You just keep moving. Because here, in Napoleon's frozen army, you don't survive by being strong. You survive by not stopping. Let the day begin. 1. Before your eyes open. Your nose burns before anything else, like you've inhaled a hot coal. But this is not heat. It's rot. Leather soaked in sweat. Cloth laced with mildew. And your own blood, dry in your nostrils, cracked like salt on your skin. You try to move, but your fingers don't respond. They're folded against your chest. You didn't place them there. They curled on their own sometime in the night, trying to hold on to your last warmth. You try to blink. Your lashes are frozen shut. You wait. And when your eyes finally open, they sting. From the light, from the cold, from the horror that morning still exists. 2. You slept in a cloak that isn't yours. It smells like someone else. Not sweat, not wood smoke. It smells like decay, like teeth never brushed, like feet never dried, like the breath of someone who hasn't lived in days. You slept in a dead man's cloak. You don't remember when you took it, only that he wasn't using it anymore. You rub your arms, but the feeling is gone, not numb, missing. The cold has stolen the nerves from your limbs. Your hands are stiff. You whisper, "Not yet," as if frostbite is a decision, as if your body still listens to you. 3. Historical shock, the barrel of frozen fingers. You stand up, you stumble, you regain balance, and then you see it. Next to the fire pit, what used to be one is a wooden barrel. You thought it was for grain, until a man you don't know reaches inside, calmly, as if choosing fruit, and pulls out a handful of fingers. Human fingers, black with frost. Some snapped clean off, bone showing like splinters of chalk. He drops them onto a rag, starts sewing them into a pouch. Keeps the poles away, he mutters. You stare, paralyzed. You were told the Russians were brutal. You weren't told that the French were worse. When hungry enough. 4. The march begins. Anew you follow, because there's nothing else. The man in front of you, Nicholas maybe, walks like a puppet on broken strings. You match his pace, not by will, but because your body's forgotten how to choose. Your breath fogs out in little clouds. You count them. Alive, still alive, still. A cannon goes off in the distance, or a tree collapses under ice. You don't turn your head to find out. Sound is meaningless now. Only movement matters. 5. Memory comes in smells. The man behind you reeks of piss. He soiled himself overnight. He walks like he doesn't know or doesn't care. You gag, but quietly. You remember the lavender your mother hung by your window. How summer made the air sweet. You remember cinnamon, baking bread. Your stomach curls. You've eaten nothing for 2 days. Someone passes a biscuit forward. More mold than bread. You break a corner off. You chew and chew and chew. It never becomes soft, but you swallow it anyway. You thank the man who passed it to you. He doesn't respond. He might be deaf. He might be dead tomorrow. You won't know. 6. Your body begins to fail. By midday, your left foot feels like someone else's. Your boots, handmade, no longer fit. Your ankles have swollen. Your toes scream at every step. You pause once to sit on a rock. It takes 10 minutes to stand again. 10 minutes too long. You lose sight of your unit. Panic rises. Your heart beats so loud, you can't hear your own thoughts. Don't get left behind. Don't get left behind. You limp run through a grove of trees. You spot the tricolor ahead, a tattered blue-white-red flag barely tied to a stick. You rejoin the back of the march. No one noticed you were gone, not even God. 7. Mirror of the past. You once laughed at war. You remember a tavern in Lyon 3 years ago. A veteran was speaking of Italy, how Napoleon's first victories bled the old kings dry. He said war was hell. You laughed, you drank, you called him bitter. Now you would give anything to find him again. Kneel, beg forgiveness. You look down at your boots. 2 different soles, 1 toe missing. This is not hell. Hell has rules. This place does not. 8. When night comes, again. The sun begins to fall. You've walked for 14 hours. You passed 3 dead men. You stopped once to pee. The stream froze midair. You find a place under an overturned wagon. It doesn't block the wind, but at least it's cover. You curl up. You cross your arms over your chest. You bite your scarf to keep your teeth from chattering loud enough to attract wolves. Your last thought before sleep. Let tomorrow forget my name. Closing echo. And still, Somewhere in the darkness, beneath the numbness, under the ice that coats your chest like armor, you feel something beat. Not quite hope, not quite fear, just life. Barely. And that is enough for now. But when dawn comes, you'll have to do it again. 1. Your first task, survive until midday. That's all. You don't think about reaching France, or seeing lion again, or hearing your brother's laugh. All that matters now is getting to midday. You wake under the wagon where frost formed inside your mouth. Your breath is weak. It doesn't fog. That scares you. You try to sit up. Your back won't cooperate. You roll to your side. The snow beneath you is stained yellow and red. Someone pissed here, or coughed blood. You don't care. You press your palms into the crusted snow and push. Your arms scream. You scream too. Not from pain, from the realization that the pain means you're still alive. 2. Food? Maybe. Water? Maybe not. The officers pass by. They toss out rations. You hold out your hand. Nothing. The man next to you catches a strip of meat. Number not meat, leather, boiled, charred, gnawed on before. He smiles and chews. You turn away. Your mouth is dry. Your stomach is an echo. You reach into your coat. Inside, a single biscuit crumb, 3 days old. You hold it on your tongue. It dissolves like dust. You close your eyes. It tastes like everything you've lost. 3. A water trick you hoped you'd never use. You dig a shallow hole in the snow. You piss in it. Wait a minute. Then pack fresh snow on top. Wait longer. Then squeeze it through your scarf. That's your water for the day. Filtered piss. You drink it slowly, eyes closed, pretending it's wine. You remember your father's vineyard. You remember the first time you got drunk and fell in the river. You remember warmth. Then you remember now. You wipe your lips with a cracked glove. You keep moving. 4. Internal conflict begins to rise. You can't ignore it anymore. Your body is moving, but your mind is fighting. I can't do this again. What if I just sit down? What if I let the snow take me? Would it even hurt? You step past a man lying on the path. You think he's sleeping. Then you realize his eyes are open. His breath is gone. He's dead. No one checks. No one stops, including you. You feel the guilt, but not enough to turn around. 5. Voices from home. Your mind plays tricks. You hear your mother. Don't forget your gloves, Louis. Too late. You hear your brother. Bet you can't outrun me. You smile. The wind howls. Your smile fades. This is what war sounds like, you think. Not cannon fire, not glory, but wind that wants to kill you, and silence that watches you starve. 6. The smell of shame. You shit in your trousers. No warning, no dignity. Your body lost control 3 days ago. You walk for 2 hours with it frozen against your leg. Eventually, it hardens. You scrape it out behind a tree. You find a leaf. It rips. You don't care. You tie your coat tighter. A Russian partisan watches from the tree line. You pretend not to notice. So does he. You are not enemies. You are both dying. 7. The eyes worse than cold, worse than hunger, worse than shit, are the eyes, the looks you get from the other soldiers. No one says anything, but they all see you, the way you slow, the way you limp. He's not going to make it. Don't give him your bread. He'll just die with it. You know those looks because you gave them to Etienne before he died. You were wrong to judge him. They're not wrong to judge you. 8. The question you sit under a tree at dusk. You look at your hands, swollen, cracked, blue at the knuckles. You think, am I still Louis? The cobbler. The boy who kissed Matilda behind the stables. The boy who wanted to open a shop. The boy who laughed. He's not here. Just this thing that breathes and walks and prays to fall asleep before the wolves come. You think, maybe I'm not meant for this. Maybe the gods made a mistake. Maybe I wasn't supposed to survive the crossing. You close your eyes, but sleep doesn't come. Only more marching. 9. What you still carry. You open your pack. Inside, a rusted spoon, a French franc you forgot to trade, a note from your mother, smudged unreadable, a torn bootlace, 2 fingers wrapped in cloth. The fingers aren't yours. You found them. You keep them because something in you says you might need them. Barter, firewood, warning, you don't know anymore. You put the pack back on and walk. 10. You catch a reflection in a puddle of melted snow. You see yourself. You don't recognize the face. Eyes sunken, beard wild, mouth open like it's forgotten how to close. A dog walks past you. It has more meat on its bones than you do. You whisper, "Trade places?" It doesn't answer. You laugh. It hurts. 11. Night returns. The wind picks up. You lie down in the shadow of a broken fence. You curl into yourself. You whisper, "Just make it to sunrise." The snow falls. Software heavy, final. You feel it bury your legs. You don't brush it off. You let it happen. Maybe if you're still enough, the cold will forget you're here. Maybe. Closing echo. You dream of boots, freshly stitched, lined with wool, made by your own hands. You slip them on. They fit perfectly. Then you wake. Your feet are numb. Your toes are black. The dream was just a warning. 1. No room for weakness, because even the gods watch. There's no chapel here, no altar, no priest, but the snow has become a cathedral, silent, endless, white like burial cloth. Your chapel is the grove of black trees you pass. Your incense, the smoke of burned hair and horsehide. Your hymns, the wheezing breaths of dying men. You have no Bible. You forgot most of your prayers, but something ancient still breathes beneath your ribs. You kneel, not because you believe, but because if you don't, you won't get up again. 2. Superstition becomes religion. The men whisper before bed. They spit 3 times to the left to blind the wolves. They tie twine around their boots, not for warmth, for luck. They burn toe bones for smoke, not for fire, for spirits. One man carries a human ear in his coat pocket, says it belonged to a drummer boy who smiled through death. They say it protects him. You laugh at first, then you ask to touch it. You don't believe in gods, but you want to believe in something, anything. 3. The phrase that follows you. You start hearing it in your head, over and over. You are not just a soldier. You are the offering. You don't know where it came from. Not an officer, not your mother, not your past. But it sticks. You are not just a soldier. You are the offering. It follows you in dreams, in footsteps. in the howl of wind through your ribs. At first it terrifies you, then you accept it, then you say it aloud. 4. Memory of a priest. You remember Father DuPont, back in Lyon. He said war was punishment, a hammer in God's hand. You asked him once if God forgave cowards. He said, there is no such thing as a coward on the battlefield, only survivors. You thought it was poetic. Now it's scripture. 5. The burial that breaks you. A boy dies beside you. Couldn't be more than 16. You never learned his name. He used to hum. Now he's stiff, frozen fingers still pointing toward the horizon. You and 2 others try to bury him, but the shovel cracks on the earth, frozen solid. So you cover him with snow, a handful of dirt, a whispered word. No cross, no hymns, just the phrase. You murmur it under your breath. You are not just a soldier, you are the offering, and you walk away. 6. You see something in the snow. At dusk, the wind shifts. You see a woman standing by a tree, pale dress, barefoot, eyes closed. You blink. She's gone. You ask another soldier if he saw her. He says no. He says nothing. You wonder if you're going mad. But you feel warmer now, just for a moment. You think of saints, of spirits, of things that watch you, not to help, just to witness. 7. You invent your own ritual. Each night, you kneel in the snow. You tie your boot, untie it, tie it again, 3 times. It doesn't help the fit, but it gives your hands something to do, your mind something to control. Then you whisper, let me wake up tomorrow. And sometimes you do. 8. When belief becomes armor, you stop fearing death. You start believing in it, not as an ending, but as a shape, a thing that walks beside you. It wears a French coat, carries a canteen, sometimes hums Etienne's song. You no longer pray to escape it. You pray it doesn't take you before you're ready. Let me stand. Let me bury one more. Let me die with my boots on. You are not just a soldier. You are the offering. 9. Legacy turns. Religious 1. Soldier writes a name in the snow each morning. A different name. When asked why, he says, so someone remembers them. You start doing it too. You write Louis, then Etienne, then Matilda, even though she's not dead. At least you don't think she is. You write names because the snow won't remember, but maybe the sky does. Final echo before night. You kneel by a campfire made of splinters and a wagon wheel. No warmth, but it glows. You stare into it, and you speak the phrase again, like a psalm. You are not just a soldier. You are the offering. A man hears you. He kneels beside you. He repeats it. Another joins, and another. It spreads like breath on cold glass. And for a moment, not long, you feel like you are part of something bigger than death. 1. No law protects you. Only power does. You see the officers ride past. Their horses are thin but still breathing. Their coats still buttoned. Their boots still polished. Their mouths still chewing. Biscuits, real ones, with salt. You haven't tasted salt in a week. They do not look at you. They don't have to. They know you won't stop them. And they're right. You stare at the trail behind them. Hoofprints slicing the snow like royal signatures. You wonder if one of them even remembers your name. You wonder if they ever learned it. 2. You watch an officer slap a man for coughing. It's not loud, it's not violent, just a dry cough from the lungs, nothing more. But the officer is cold, angry, desperate to feel in control of something. So he turns and slaps the man with his leather glove. The soldier doesn't fight back. He just stares at the snow. You want to say something, but your mouth stays closed. You realize something. There are two kinds of people in this army. Those who freeze with dignity, and those who warm themselves by burning others. You don't know which one you'll become yet. 3. Officers get fires. You get frostbite. You pass a camp of officers. They have real tents, a fire that crackles, not smokes, even chairs. You see a small iron pot boiling. Is that chicken? You want to cry, but your tears would freeze. You keep your eyes down, because if you look too long, you'll lose what little strength your legs have left. They pretend not to see you, and maybe they don't. You're not men to them. You're resources, like bullets, or boots, or timber, replaceable, burnable, expendable. 4. Past future, layering. Who will be remembered? You walk past a general. You hear someone whisper, "That's General Renier. He has a fur-lined coat, silver buttons, a bodyguard. He doesn't make eye contact with anyone." But you look at him hard. You wonder, will historians write about him? Will his name live longer than mine? You already know the answer. And still, centuries from now, someone might carve his name into marble. But you'll be buried in snow, unnamed, unclaimed, unfound. 5. The officer who shot his own men. You heard the story 2 nights ago, near the fire. General Oguro, maybe, or another. Does it matter? He found 2 men stealing flour. They were starving, bones under skin, begging. He didn't hesitate. 2 bullets, 2 bodies, 1 less ration to divide. The officer's men buried them shallow, 1 shovel full each. You remember someone said, "Better them than us." You said nothing, but you thought, maybe next time it'll be me. 6. When obedience feels like survival, you march faster when the officer shouts, not because you respect him, not because you trust him, because you know if you fall behind, he won't look back. He will not carry you. No one will. And if your pace threatens the rest, he will end you, not from cruelty, from efficiency. You obey because it's the only chance you have. You are not marching with men. You are marching with a machine made of desperation. And the parts that rust get removed. 7. A punishment without a crime. You stop early one day. Your foot has split open. You remove the boot. There's blood, pus, a smell you can't name. You sit for 2 minutes. The officer sees you. He doesn't ask questions. He raises his pistol, not to shoot you, but to show you what happens next depends on him. You stand. You scream as you lace the boot again. You march, because death in motion is still better than death in the snow. 8. Justice is a word that froze weeks ago. Once in Lyon, a thief stole your coin purse. You chased him, tackled him, got your money back. You were proud. You believed in justice. Now, you saw a man stab another for a biscuit. The officer saw it too. He looked away. That was the justice. No trial, no consequences, no morality. Only hunger, only numbers, Only men willing to die a little more slowly than the others. 9. What the officer told you. When you asked why, you asked once, back when the snow first fell, back when you still had a full set of toes. Why are we still marching? The officer laughed, not kindly. He said, because if we stop, we're French ghosts in Russian dirt. If we keep going, maybe we get to haunt our homes instead. That was the only truth he ever gave you. 10. Power is an illusion in the cold. One night, an officer dies in his tent. Heart, they say, or poison, or fear. His men panic. No one knows who's in charge. You watch them fight, blame each other, argue over maps that don't make sense anymore. In that moment, you realize something terrifying. Even they are pretending. Even they are lost. Even power is a story, and you believed it too long. Final echo. You pass a hill. At the top is a French flag planted in ice. No one salutes. No one sings. They just walk past, too tired to believe in symbols, too cold to believe in meaning, too broken to believe in France. You whisper to yourself, you are not just a soldier. You are the offering. And you keep walking. 1. You haven't spoken in 3 days. Not a word, not a whisper, not even a grunt when you cough. Your throat is dry. Your tongue cracked. Your lips stick when you try to move them. But mostly, there's no one to speak to. The men beside you aren't friends. They're flesh that moves. You don't know their names anymore. You don't care. You're afraid to speak. Because if your voice comes out different, what if it means you've changed completely? What if Louis Fournier is already gone? 2. The same tool, the same weight. Your job, today like yesterday, is to carry what no one else will. A broken musket, a sack of iron nails, a crate of useless buttons. You carry them because you said yes 3 weeks ago, before your thoughts began to melt. Now it's ritual. You wake, you lift, you march. You do not ask why. The tool is cold, its weight unchanged, but it feels heavier than you've ever felt. It's not the crate that burdens you. It's that no one remembers why you're carrying it, not even you. 3. The thought that cuts you. You pause to pee behind a frozen log. As you unbutton your coat, your hands shake, not from cold, from something deeper, something trembling in your ribs. And then the thought comes, clear, cruel, calm. Maybe I was never meant for this. And then, maybe the gods made a mistake. And then, maybe they didn't. Maybe I'm the mistake. You zip your coat again. You don't button it. Why bother? 4. A shadow that walks beside you. You start seeing him in the snow. Another version of you. Same height, same beard, same boots, but cleaner, stronger. Smiling, he walks just beside you, out of step. You turn your head. He vanishes. You close your eyes. He returns. He is not a ghost. He is the man you could have been if you had stayed, if you had lied to the recruiter, if you had run. He never says anything, but he looks disappointed. You hate him and miss him. 5. The silence inside. You stop noticing the cold, not because it left, but because it's everywhere. It has become your bloodstream, your memory, your faith. You forget Matilda's face, your father's laugh, the sound of bread cracking from the oven. You try to picture a candle. Nothing. You try to hum Etienne's tune. Silence. You are not thinking. You are not feeling. You are only continuing, like a wheel that forgot why it turns. The officer's eyes say nothing. You collapse near a tree, just for a moment, just to sit. A shadow falls over you. It's the officer. He doesn't raise his voice. He doesn't draw his pistol. He just looks at you. A long, slow stare. Then he walks on. He doesn't see a man. He sees inventory. And right now, you're still listed as functional. So you get up and follow, because even being unloved is better than being forgotten. 7. You ask the sky a question. You look up. Gray clouds, flat light, no warmth. You whisper. It barely leaves your throat. What was the point? Not of war, not of France, of you, the boy who learned to tan leather with his grandfather, the boy who wanted to be more than useful. You wait for an answer, but the sky has never answered anyone. Not in Russia, not in France, not even in Rome. You drop your head again. That night, you dream you're home. A dream sweet, gold-tinted. You're back in Lyon. A breeze through the open window. A smell of garlic and herbs. You see Mathilde. She's singing. You're mending a shoe. The fire glows. She touches your cheek. She says, "You were never meant to leave." You smile. You feel your body rest. Then you wake. Your cheek is frozen to the dirt. A rat chews your bootlace. The dream was punishment. The breakdown is not a scream. It's a whisper. You don't cry, not because you're strong, because there's nothing left. No tears, no outrage, no protest. Just this soft, steady voice in your chest. You've already disappeared. They just haven't buried you yet. Final echo, you kneel at the edge of camp, staring at the snow. You whisper your name, Louis. It sounds fake. You whisper again. It still sounds fake. You whisper the phrase. You are not just a soldier. You are the offering. That sounds real. You lie down, not to sleep, just to stop. And in that moment, you finally feel warm, not from fire, from surrender. 1. There is a line in the snow. You wake to shouting, rough French. Put it down. That's for officers. He's stealing from the barrel. You sit up. Your back aches. Your stomach twists. But the noise jolts your heart like a whip across your soul. You crawl to your knees. You see 3 men arguing. One has bread. The other 2 have rifles. It's not just shouting now. It's threat. The man with the bread is thin, shaking, wild-eyed. His fingers bleed from clawing the lid off the supply cart. You know him, barely. Jean, he once shared jerky with you. 2 weeks ago, maybe 3. You liked him. Now they're going to shoot him. 2. The moral conflict. The officer approaches. He doesn't speak. He doesn't need to. The rifles lift. Jean begs. It was moldy. It was going to rot. No one answers. You stand up. Your hands tremble. You feel the cold rush of decision. Do you speak? Do you defend him? Do you say, "Let him live, let him eat. He's one of us"? Or do you step back, let him take the bullet meant for all of you, a lesson in silence? You open your mouth. 3. Then the shot comes too late. It's not clean. Jean's shoulder jerks first, then his neck. He crumples. hands still clutching the moldy loaf. The officers don't bury him. They take the bread back. You hear one mutter, "We warned them." 4. Silence. After violence is worse. The men return to the march. No one talks about it. Not aloud, but the air is different now. He was one of you, and he died for a piece of bread. What does that mean for the rest of you? Your hands won't stop shaking. You feel something snap, quietly, not like a bone, more like a rope inside your soul, stretched too tight. You don't trust anyone now, not them, not the officers, not even your own will. 5. You're ordered to burn a village. The sun hasn't risen yet, but the orders are clear. Torch everything. It's a Russian hamlet. Empty, maybe. You knock on a door. No answer. You push it open. Inside, a child's boot. A bowl of frozen soup. A Bible written in Cyrillic. You freeze. You think, someone lived here. Someone prayed here. Someone will come back. But the officer sees hesitation. Now, Fournier, fire it. You swallow. You light the match. The wood is dry. The flames rise faster than your fear can stop them. You don't watch it burn. You walk away. The what if, later, as you march again, the flames still dancing behind you. You ask yourself, what if they had been inside? No one answers. You tell yourself it was empty. You tell yourself it was war. You tell yourself nothing else. 7. Your shovel becomes a weapon. At dusk, the wolves come too close. You form a circle, shields up, bayonets ready. But you don't have a bayonet. You have a shovel, rusty, bent. And when one lunges for the man beside you, you strike. Hard. The sound is wet. Not like killing an animal, like breaking a promise. The wolf twitches, then stops. Blood steams in the air. You stare at the edge of your shovel. You whisper, not just for digging now. You wipe the blade on your coat. You don't feel heroic. You feel capable. That scares you more. 8. The men look at you differently. Someone saw. They saw you strike. They saw you kill. They saw the blood on your coat. No one cheers. No one thanks you. But they move aside when you walk. You're not just Lewis anymore. You're someone who can do what others won't. It makes you feel important. It makes you feel nothing. 9. You hear a plan to desert whispers by the fire. 3 men talking about breaking off, heading south, finding a neutral border. You pretend to sleep, but your ears sharpen. Then they notice you listening. One asks, "You'll say anything?" You shake your head. They nod. Then one of them hands you a crust. "You didn't hear us." You chew. You don't answer. Final teaser. The weight of the day. The stars rise. The sky clears. You stare up and wonder, what happens to a man who obeys evil long enough that he no longer notices? The snow shifts beneath you. You whisper the line again. You are not just a soldier. You are the offering. And somewhere you know what happened today will follow you into legend or into oblivion. 1. A nail cost a day's work. That's what the sergeant says. You need to repair your boot. It's split at the heel. Snow pours in with every step. You ask for a nail. He says, "What will you give for it?" You reach into your pack. A spoon, a frozen candle stub, a silver ring from a corpse. He shrugs. Too light. You beg. He smiles. Then walk on blood. You walk. The nail stays in his pouch. Your foot bleeds for another 2 miles. You think, that was the cheapest price of the day. 2. The black market of the march. There's no market stall, no coin exchange, no law, but commerce never dies, not even in the snow. At the center of every fire circle is a trader, someone who has something and wants something worse. Today it's Camille. He has 1 knife, half a bottle of vodka, a pouch of lice-free socks. You need the socks. You offer a tin cup. He laughs. Unless the cup fills itself, no. You offer the silver coin. He nods. You get the socks. They're damp. They're patched. But they don't itch. You nearly cry. 3. Surprise fact: the cost of shoes. You overhear the Poles arguing. One traded a pistol for a single shoe. Another exchanged a gold locket for a slab of wood to sleep on. You think it's madness until your toe goes black. Then you understand. A boot isn't clothing now. It's a limb. Lose the boot. You lose the foot. Lose the foot. You die. You think, I would trade anything, even my name. And you would. 4. Tools are more than tools. You have a needle. You've had it since lion. You used to stitch boots with it, then gloves. Now you use it to close wounds, even your own. The other men watch. They whisper, "Lewis can fix things." You hate that, because it means they'll come to you. And when you run out of thread, you'll have to choose what's more useful, their wound healed or your coat intact. You don't want to answer that question, but you will. 5. Your musket isn't a weapon anymore. You stopped loading it a week ago. No powder, no balls, no use. But you carry it. Why? Not for pride, not for orders, because it's still heavy. Because if you drop it, they'll notice. And the officers will say, "He gave up," and you'll get no rations, no fire spot, no protection. So you carry the empty musket like a relic, a burden to keep your name off the death list. 6. The price of meat. A Russian trader appears at camp one night. Half his face is burned, but he holds up a sack, red inside. Meat. Fresh? Maybe. Human? Maybe. No one asks. He wants a tin of powder, a hat, a French coat. 3 soldiers offer their own boots instead. He points to you, your socks, the lice-free pair. You hesitate, then you untie them. He tosses you a fist-sized chunk of meat. You chew. You don't taste anything. You swallow. You don't feel anything. You wipe your mouth. You don't say anything. 7. You sell your name. That night, you whisper your name to another soldier. He says, "You don't need that anymore." You nod and trade it, silently, for a drink of water. The man gulps it, then grins. "Now I'm Lewis." You don't correct him. You don't speak again for 3 days. 8. What do you still own? In your pack, a bent spoon, piece of canvas, 2 metal buttons, a strand of human hair. That's your inventory, but in your heart, only 2 things remain: the sound of Etienne's humming and the phrase, "You are not just a soldier, you are the offering." You don't know where it came from anymore. Maybe you invented it. Maybe it was whispered by the snow, but it's the only thing you haven't bartered away. Yet, final echo, the fire burns low, the snow falls soft. A man nearby offers offers to buy your gloves. You don't answer, because if you give them away, there won't be anything left of you, not even your hands. You hold them tighter. You whisper the phrase, not as prayer, but inventory. You are not just a soldier. You are the offering. You close your eyes and value yourself for the last time. 1. You thought this world was noble. You imagined banners, drums, horses rearing in silhouette, Napoleon on a cliff, hand on chest, cloak flapping like scripture. You imagined rising music, shouts of Vive l'Empereur, a charge into glory. That's not what war sounds like. War is a cough in the snow, the soft crunch of a man collapsing, the wet snap of frost-bitten fingers breaking off inside a glove. It's the silence after someone starves, and no one even notices. 2. History lied to you. You read books, you saw paintings, you believed in something larger. But now, you march beside men with no eyes. You carry a spoon sharpened into a knife. You sleep with a stone in your mouth to stop your teeth from shattering in the night. This isn't a painting. This is decay. You are not just a soldier. You are the offering. That line plays again in your mind, but now it sounds less holy and more like a curse. 3. The meal you'll never forget. You eat today, but not because of rations, because someone died quietly by the fire, and when they did, a man took his coat, another took his boots, and another, he took the thigh. You look away. You chew what you're given. You don't ask questions, because if the answer is what you think it is, you'll vomit, and then you'll be weaker, and then you'll be next. 4. The brothers in arms. Myth. They told you soldiers become family. They don't. Family buries the dead. Soldiers loot them. You've seen it 10 times this week. Etienne? His death wasn't mourned. It was an opportunity for warmth, for cloth, for calories. You tell yourself you wouldn't do it, but you already have. 5. You are not a hero. You've never saved anyone. You've never fired a musket in glory. You've never planted a flag on a rooftop. You dig, you march, you bleed, you carry things. You kill rats for food. You pray for others to die before you do, so you can use their stuff. You are not a hero. You are a shape in the snow, and that's all. 6. The song that lied. Someone hums a patriotic tune from back home. La Marseillaise, but the words mean nothing now. Children of the fatherland, the day of glory has arrived. No, it hasn't. There is no fatherland here, only frost. There is no glory here, only gray. 7. A young recruit tries to inspire you. He's 16, face still round, eyes too hopeful. He says, "We're writing history. They'll remember us." You stare at him. He won't last the week. You know it. He knows it. But he says it anyway. And for a moment, you hate him for it. Because you used to believe that too. 8. What you see in the ice. You stop to drink. You crouch by a cracked riverbed. Dip your cup. Then see your reflection. But it's not just you. It's a skull beneath skin. It's a stranger, eyes you don't recognize. And behind you, a line of corpses frozen upright, still holding their satchels. One has a medal on his chest. He must have been brave once. Now, he's just inventory for the crows. You drink anyway. 9. What the Russians never did. They didn't kill you. Not most of you. They let the snow do it. They burned the food, burned the towns, burned the trails, and let time and cold eat the rest. No cavalry charge, no duel at dawn, just silence. The most effective war machine was winter, final echo. The phrase returns, rewritten. As night falls, you lie back in a shallow trench. Your ribs poke through your coat. Your fingers don't close anymore. You smell like rotted iron. You whisper, "You are not just a soldier," and pause. Then with a bitter laugh, "You are the consequence," and you close your eyes, knowing that if you die tonight, you'll become another myth. One that lies. 1. The first thing you notice is the blood. It's not warm, not anymore, but it was. Your fingers are stained. Your coat is wet. The snow around your feet is pink. You don't remember when you started bleeding, or whose blood it is. You only know one thing. Something happened, and now you are no longer the same man. 2. Rewind the hour before. A new officer arrived that morning. Tight coat, clean face, a voice like rusted iron. We press through the woods. No stragglers, no debate. You march into the trees, pines, quiet, deep snow. The cold doesn't hit first. What hits is the ambush. 2 shots, then screaming. A French soldier goes down. Eyes open, throat missing. Muskets flare from the brush. You freeze. You grab your musket. No powder. You reach for your shovel. You run. 3. The choice. You see 2 soldiers pinned behind a fallen log. One calls for help. The other is already bleeding out. You have a choice. Run past, fight, freeze. You charge forward. You raise your shovel. A Russian partisan lunges at you. You swing hard, once, twice. You don't remember the third hit. You just remember the sound. Wet, final, 4. You feel nothing. At first, the man is still. The blood steams off his coat. He had a necklace, a small wooden cross. You notice it as it slips from his neck into the snow. You want to feel something. Pity, rage, pride. Instead, you feel nothing. Only your hands, trembling from impact. 5. The soldier you saved looks at you differently. He gets up. He's pale, grateful, terrified. You saved me. You nod. He says it again, louder. You saved me. He wants to call you hero. You shake your head. You don't feel like a hero. You feel like you've crossed something that can't be undone. You pick up the partisan's coat. It's warmer than yours. You put it on. 6. The officer praises you. That night, around a fire, Fournier stood his ground. The officer says he killed 3. That's a lie. There was only 1. But they raise a toast anyway. A tin cup passed to you. You drink it. It burns. But not as much as the feeling inside your chest. This will follow me. You stare into the fire. The face of the man you killed swims there, flickering in flame. You whisper, "Forgive me." No one hears, but the snow seems to lean closer. 7. A dream that isn't a dream. You fall asleep hard, but it doesn't feel like sleep. You're back in Lyon. You're in your old workshop. Matilda is there. She says nothing, just watches you sew. Then blood drips from the leather. Your needle slips. You look down. The boot you're sewing is made from skin, not cowhide. Human. You wake. Your fingers still clench the shovel. 8. The callback. You sit alone. The others sleep. The wind is soft tonight. You whisper the phrase, "This day," will echo through time. It no longer sounds like hope. It sounds like a warning. You feel it settle in your bones. You feel yourself change. This is your turning point. There is no going back. 9. The question returns. What am I now? Not a cobbler, not a son, not even a soldier. You are a survivor who is killed. You tell yourself, it was the war. It was the moment. I had no choice. But part of you knows you could have walked. You didn't. Final echo. The fire crackles. The snow melts beneath your boots. In the distance, a wolf howls. You look at your hands, still shaking. You whisper, "You are not just a soldier." Then quietly, "You are the consequence." And this time, you mean it. 1. The moon is out. No clouds tonight. No snow falling. No screaming. No shooting. Just the moon, full, pale, silent. It hangs above the forest like an eye that sees but no longer judges. You sit beside a blackened fire pit. The embers are dead, but the warmth lingers in the dirt. Your hands rest on your knees, still shaking, but less now. You're not cold. You're just here. 2. You don't move, not yet. The others sleep around you. Some snore, some twitch. You watch one man pull a scrap of cloth over his face. You don't know his name. You don't need to. Out here, names don't mean survival. Only stillness does. You don't close your eyes yet. You're afraid of what you'll see. Not nightmares, not blood, but your own reflection, the one that keeps changing. 3. You finally ask the real question, not out loud, just in your mind. If I survive this, who will I be? Not the same Louis, not a son, not a cobbler. You've seen men freeze mid-step. You've seen wolves take the soft parts first. You've killed, and you've felt nothing. So what does survival even mean? Is it living, or is it enduring without becoming monstrous? 4. The sleep ritual. You lie on your side. You pull your knees in, tight. You cup your hands beneath your cheek. You press your feet together to trap the last of your heat. Then you whisper the same words you've said for 12 nights now. Just wake up. That's all. Not glory, not France, not tomorrow. Just the act of opening your eyes again, and maybe hearing someone else breathe beside you, so you know you're not the last one left. 5. The phrase 1. Last time you close your eyes, you hear the wind whisper. It almost sounds like Etienne's humming, and suddenly you remember everything again. Mathilde's voice, your father's boots, the taste of honey. You whisper, you were never just a soldier. A pause. Then, you were the offering. And for the first time, it doesn't sound like punishment. It sounds like meaning. 6. The world breathes with you. It happens slow. You feel the ground rise and fall beneath you, like a heartbeat. You hear someone to your left sigh and sleep. You hear someone murmur their mother's name. You feel the trees swaying. And for a moment, just one, you imagine the entire world is exhaling with you, not to save you, but to mourn with you. 7. You dream of fire that doesn't burn. This time, your dream is different. You're by a hearth, not in lion, not in camp, just somewhere that feels like rest. Mathilde sits beside you. You don't speak, but you don't need to. She takes your hand. It's warm. Your boots are dry. Your breath is easy. You feel like a man again, not a tool. You start to cry, but in the dream, that's okay. Final emotional arc closure. The fire dims, your dream fades, and you feel your chest rise once more. One breath, then another. The cold waits outside your coat, but it can't get in. Not yet. You whisper it one last time. You were never just a soldier. You were the story, and the world says nothing, but it listens. 1. Dawn doesn't break. It bleeds. And there is no sunrise, just less darkness. You open your eyes to a sky so pale it almost disappears. Ash-colored clouds hang over the horizon like exhausted thoughts. You're lying on your back. Your spine aches. Your ribs press through your coat. Your eyelids feel heavier than your boots ever did. But you're awake. And that alone feels like defiance. Your first breath doesn't fog in the air. You think, it's not as cold as yesterday. But you know better. It's not the air that's changed. It's you. 2. You don't move. You just listen, not to orders, not to voices, but to absence. You hear nothing. No wolves, no gunfire, no death today, not yet. The only sound is the brittle crackle of snow breaking under a man's boots nearby. He's awake too. He's pacing in small circles, maybe trying to keep his blood from freezing, maybe trying to remember his name. You know that walk. You've done it. You watch him, but you still don't move. Not yet. 3. Memory comes in a whisper. You remember bread. Not the hunger, but the smell. Crisp crust, warm inside, steam on cold fingers. You remember leather, the feel of it under your thumb, before it became food, before it became armor. You remember Matilda's voice reading aloud. Some book you never finished. She always liked endings. You always skipped them. Now you're living one. And you're not sure you want to turn the last page. 4. You sit up, slowly, gently, differently. Your muscles ache, but not like before, not violently. This pain is familiar now, an old companion. You've stopped fighting it. You carry it like you carry your pack, like you carry the faces of the dead. You look around. The fire is out. The men are quiet. The officer sits alone, sharpening a knife no one will use. Everyone is thinking the same thing. How many more days? But no one says it, because the answer is always too many. 5. You realize something has changed, not outside, inside. The cold hasn't left, but it no longer frightens you. The hunger claws, but it no longer drives you mad. You've stepped beyond fear, beyond hope, not numbness, not emptiness, but something else, something harder to name, a kind of stillness, a kind of peace that only comes when everything else has been taken. 6. You touch the blood stain on your coat. You trace it with your fingers. Not fresh, not forgotten. You don't remember whose blood it is. Maybe yours. Maybe the Russian boy with the cross. Maybe Jean. You don't know anymore. But you touch it. Not to clean it. To remember. Because in this world, memory is all that keeps you real. And you refuse to forget, even when everyone else does. 7. You look at the men around you and see ghosts. They breathe, they move, but inside, gone. Hollow eyes, dry hands, frozen mouths that haven't smiled in weeks. They are not dead, but they are done. You wonder, do I look like them? You don't know. You hope not. But deep down, you fear you do. 8. You whisper your name to see if it still fits. Louis, software gentle. It cracks as it leaves your lips. You say it again, louder. Louis Fournier. The man across from you stirs, looks up, nods, then turns away. You don't care if he heard you. You weren't talking to him. You were talking to yourself. 9. The thought you've been avoiding comes back. If I survive this, will I deserve it? Not just because of the killing, not just because of what you stole or what you let happen, but because of what you became to survive. You remember your dream, Matilda's hand, the boot made of human skin. You rub your eyes. You whisper, just make it home before I forget who I am. But a part of you already knows some pieces won't come back with you. 10. You look at the camera and speak not literally, but it feels like it. You break the fourth wall. You speak to the listener, the watcher, the silent witness, the one who made it this far. You say, you walked beside me. You carried it too. You smelled the rot. You counted the dead. You heard the wolves. You killed when I killed. You stayed. And now you ask them, would you survive it again? And deeper still, would you want to? 11. The emotional CTA. Look at your hands. Picture it. Cracked, bleeding, wrapped in rags, shaking from cold and guilt. Could you walk one more day? Could you dig one more grave? Could you hand over your name for a drink of water? Would you still be you when it's over? Let me know in the comments, because this isn't just my march. It's yours now too. 12. Final legacy line. The softest version. Yet the light shifts again. A bird chirps. First one you've heard in a month. You smile. It hurts. You whisper, "This day will echo through time." You say it like a lullaby, not a prophecy, not a warning, just truth, a quiet truth, the kind you carry, not shout. 13. Your final prayer, not to God, but to the future. You close your eyes again, not to sleep, just to rest them. You say, "If I die, let someone remember me as I was, not what I became, not what the march turned me into, but as I was, before." And then you let yourself go silent, not to disappear, but to listen to the snow, to the trees, to the world you didn't leave behind, because you're still here. Outro, narrator to viewer. You lived it. You felt it. You marched where thousands froze. You became what they became. And now you carry a piece of that world in your chest. So let me ask you one last time. Could you have survived the march of Napoleon's army? Or would your story have ended long before mine? Let me know in the comments. You made it to the end. That's rare. That's something. That's survival of a different kind. Sleep well, storyteller. Tomorrow is just a different war.